Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dr. Vinny.
You listen to the Vinny Eastwood Show on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. We're selling juice looseners today. Speaking of loosening the juice, US election. America ready to decide between two visions. There's an article in the New Zealand Herald. Two visions? This is the most expensive US election ever. Right? So what two visions fall into the category outside of the super wealthy financing the politicians so that they can pass legislation that suits the super wealthy? Where's the two visions here? You know, what are these two radical differences? One wants the corporations to take over the state. The other one wants the state to take over the corporations. What changes? Nothing. It just gets worse and worse. I mean, who you frickin' vote for? I'm going to read the article here. This is out of the Associated Press, Rothschild Press. The most expensive presidential election in United States history reaches its climax tomorrow. Like, as soon as everybody casts their votes, they reach climax and go, ah! Billed by both Democrats and Republicans is a stark choice between two visions for America. A stark choice. There's a black guy and a white guy. That's about as stark as it gets. But that's the only difference. Skin pigment! President Barack Obama, the country's first black president, and seeking a second term, has been in a statistical dead heat with former... So they talk about climax and they talk about dead heat. Is there an undertone in this article? Let's read on. With former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney, who overcame conservatives' skeptics to reach striking distance of the White House. Striking distance, yeah, like a stormtrooper with his baton about to crack some hippie skulls. But there are signs that Obama has recovered lost ground with voters, thanks to his astute handling of Hurricane Sandy. You know, see, there we go again. His astute handling of Sandy. The latest opinion polls of likely voters put him at a slight advantage over Romney for the popular vote. On the Electoral College map, which is the only thing that counts in a US presidential election. I don't like that statement. The Electoral College map is the only thing that counts in a US presidential election. What about the people? What about the economy? What about the foreign wars and stuff like that? Oh my God! I listened to Joe Biden on C-SPAN today say that we ended the war in Iraq and we will end the war in Afghanistan. Well, I guess I didn't get that memo. How can he comes out and says, we ended the war in Iraq. Does mission accomplished mean anything to you people? And the crowd cheers and agrees. Are you freaking kidding me? Yes. Okay. It's become blissfully aware to me. As I gaze at this picture of supporters of Mitt Romney praying before the arrival of their candidate at a campaign rally in Cleveland. All these people look like they're two brain cells away from being clinically classified as with a learning disability. Right? Just crazed. And you can almost see the ignorance in their face. You know, when you get freeze frame of people and everybody kind of looks like they've, I don't know, just had a Thorazine drip or something, and they're all doing a similar thing, but they all got the same expression of, this is what these that's what these Romney supporters look like. Okay. You know, a picture does say 1,000 words, doesn't it? He is also has a slim lead over the challenger, according to US media projections. Nice one, Romney. But in the end, it will come down to turnout, particularly in the Midwestern state of Ohio, which is crucial for the winner to gain 270 electoral college votes needed for victory. Victory. Like if one of them wins, anybody else does. The Ohio firewall precariously stands for President Barack Obama, but a strong Republican turnout could enable Mitt Romney to tear it down on Election Day, the Ohioan newspaper The Columbus Dispatch reported. One of the most eloquent descriptions of the candidates' contrasting visions came last week. I almost... Have you noticed how you almost can't even read out the lies without stopping in mid-sentence to go, "What contrasting image? What contrasting image? Where did you go?" Anyway, this came from last week from New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg. Oh, and Bloomberg, obviously not in the pocket of the intellectual or financial elite or anything like that. Obviously not a scumbag who's lying to the Americans about the economy on a daily freaking basis, not to mention in order to be mayor of New York, you practically have to be a mafioso from birth. He gave a lukewarm endorsement for Obama while echoing damaging criticism of the Republican nominee accused of backing any policy in order to secure election. Hold on a second. He's accusing a politician of backing any policy in order to win an election, but he's pointing it at the politician who's opposing him and not also at the politician that he's backing. That's dishonesty. Bloomberg, a former Republican turned political independent, said although he would have preferred Romney had he stuck to earlier positions, he was influenced by Obama's action on climate change and women's issues and his potential for bipartisanship in his second term. It kind of... Reading mainstream media now, does anybody else get this? You kind of get this knot in your stomach, like almost like heartburn caused by rage, coupled with a little bit of a headache. You know what I'm saying? Does anybody else get this? It's almost like this is my theory on this. I don't have any evidence whatsoever. But it's almost like there are hidden codes all throughout the media, and it's designed to make you miserable, make you sick, make you angry, or something of that nature. And as soon as you listen to it for any period of time, usually for me it's only a couple of minutes, if you're aware, maybe, it starts to really make you sick, and you cannot do it. It's like your body is rejecting the brainwashing. I mean, one time when my diet was remarkably healthy, and I had some McDonald's, and I started to feel sick right after it, almost as I was eating it, kind of thing, because my body was so healthy that it was just rejecting it. It was like, well, this is not good. This is not good. And I think that's happening on a psychological level with me. And this is happening to me as I speak. Just reading out this tripe, absolute tripe from the mainstream media. You gotta be freaking kidding me. There ain't no freaking difference. 1. 2, there ain't no free elections either. 3, there are third parties, which never get a mention. They just don't. I have seen and heard countless coverage in the New Zealand media about the US election. And not once in the entire time that I've been watching, and this goes for all previous US elections that I've observed from afar in New Zealand, because the US elections are big here in New Zealand, surprisingly enough. And not once have I ever heard the words Green Party, Constitution Party, Justice Party, The Libertarian Party? No. None of it. Like they don't exist. Like there is really only two choices, and the choices are so different that why would anybody even think about looking at a third party? You have any idea how often the drug war came up in the presidential... Never, practically. And when the drug war was talked about at the third party debate, almost all of them agreed. Prohibition of cannabis is absolutely stupid. Crazy. And costing us too much money, and it's evil, and it should be repealed. That's a real presidential debate. Oh my God, they're talking about real issues. No wonder the mainstream media cuts them completely out of the debate. They're trying to corral you into an arena that is more or less just a slaughterhouse. There you go. It's like somebody's got... I saw an episode of The Simpsons once, and Lenny and Carl were trying to go find Homer Simpson, and they had to go to Saudi Arabia or something like that. I forget which. And there's this very stereotypical looking Arab dude there with a giant turban on, with a huge sword and baggy pants. And he offers them the choice between two doors. He says, behind one of these doors is a tiger, and behind another one of these doors is Homer Simpson. And so Lenny and Carl both open a door each, and there's two tigers, and they start attacking him, like, ah, and close the door. And they go, you told us one of them would be Homer Simpson, and one of them would be a tiger. He says, I know, one of the tigers is named Homer Simpson. That's a US election. You know, you got two tigers, and you've been asked to pick between the doors. And I can't get over with Joe Biden saying, seriously, we've ended the Iraq War. That threw me for a loop. First, I laughed. Probably woke up the neighbors so loud that it actually hurt my throat a little. And then I realized that the pain in my throat wasn't laughter at all. It was rage. Right? You know, right, royal, excruciatingly hateful, painful, miserable rage. That these scum could just get up there and just blatantly lie. Like, how many troops are still in Iraq? Heaps! There's car bombs and truck bombs going off everywhere. People are contaminated with depleted uranium. They've still got the green zone. They've still got their frickin' troops patrolling the streets and stuff like that. But we've ended the war. You've ended the war and started an occupation. It's still a war. They didn't invite you. All right. What does the word 1.5 million dead Iraqis mean to you? Joe Biden gets up and he says, how many veterans are here? And he's got all these people raising hands all over the place, including people behind him on the very stage he's standing on. And he says, our fallen angels have died in honor and service to their country and such and blah, blah, blah. And he gets out this little piece of paper. It's like, 6,491 fallen angels. La 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 la. His point is he wants to be behind the veterans. Then why does his administration deny them medical benefits when they come back? Why are more veterans committing suicide in the service now? Anywhere? Why are a quarter of the American population who are homeless returning veterans? If they care about them. Why are they still over there if they cared about them? Why are they still getting limbs blown off? Why are they still getting post-traumatic stress syndrome? Why are there drone attacks in countries where wars haven't been declared? There is so many things that need to be clarified when a politician speaks that it is impossible to simply do a little bit of commentary and say there's a stark contrast between these candidates. Okay, it's fracking possible to really even keep up with the lies that these people are shilling you. You don't need to know what each of the lies are. You don't need to know what the truth really is about these candidates. You simply need to know that they're a liar, and you cannot trust, and let me say this very clearly now, anything they say. Not one word that comes out of the mouths of these vicious viper snake scumbags is the truth. Any sense of the word. If they tell you the sky's blue, I can guarantee you poke out your head and it'll be cloudy as hell. You listen to the Vinny Eastwood Show on AmericanFreedomRadio.com, and we'll be right back after the break at the VinnyEastwoodShow.com. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Vinny Eastwood Show. Everybody gets angry around election time if they're standing for the truth, and I'm just going to go with it, frankly, because I hate these people who are lying to all you precious Americans out there. I really do. I feel your pain. These slithering, slimy, rambunctious, wildebeest breath, yak smoking, cigarette cartel pushing, filthy scum. No consideration for people's welfare, for the future of the country, or anything of that nature. They really don't. And they don't deserve our attention. So you watch a presidential debate, and I was listening to Kevin Barrett's show earlier, and one of his guests was told after he finished watching a debate by a friend, you know, you can never get that 90 minutes back. And something occurs to me. This is a waste of time. You've got everybody focused on it. Everybody talking about it. Because they think it's real. They think it matters. I mean, has anybody ever seen like a gamers convention where you got the two top people who are good at Halo or Mortal Kombat or something like that? It's got that kind of significance. It's completely irrelevant. Whoever gets elected, the elite win, and we lose. They're backing both the horses. One's backed by the financial industry and the military-industrial complex. The other one's backed by the military-industrial complex and the financial industry. It's the same thing. Can we even continue to give this energy? I mean, the topic of the elections really is an energy-sucking experience, the likes of which humankind is plain not capable of bearing for too long. It's convenient that there's only one every 4 years where we get lied to consistently about what kind of a variance there is between these two pieces of trash that are put in front of us to select. Do you want the trash that smells like sewage, or do you want the trash that smells like really bad garbage water? I don't know the history behind these two people. I don't know who their financial backers are. I don't know even what their policies are. They haven't really said anything. And even if they had said anything positive that I'd heard about, I would have to instantly say, hey, look, no, they're doing the direct opposite. Or they're going to do the direct opposite after getting elected, after everybody's given them their power. It's like, there's an old saying among, I think, Lenin, from communist Russia. Don't worry, comrade. I'm just telling the people what they want to hear. After we get given the power, then we will do what we want. Okay? These people are both socialists, in my opinion, regardless of how much they say tax cuts are going to help. I mean, the government owns a decent proportion of the major Fortune 500 companies in the United States. They own all the land that your houses are on. It cannot change. It is not possible to change this picture by only looking at the race of the leaders. It's not possible. The New World Order, the conspiracy affects everything and everybody in every single way. And this is only one way that they manipulate and distract people. Only one. There are many. The education system's just awful in the United States, where you're like 50th in the world in terms of education. Do you think that when Obama or Romney comes out and says we're going to educate the children of America because their education's really important, that they actually mean it? You know, you're naive and weak-minded. Okay, it's the only way you can really be involved with these presidential races with any kind of congruence, is that you have to be either really naive or incredibly weak-minded. You know, well, I have very little faith in the system at all. So it occurs to me that simply to spend any time on this is time that you will never get back, and it is time that would be much better spent elsewhere. So on this day before the election, here I am talking about it, and talking about why we shouldn't be talking about it. Is there a disconnect here on this show as well? It's like you break your leg and your bone's sticking out, and you go, oh, I don't want to look at it, don't want to look at it. You keep sneaking a peek at it. It disgusts you and you look away, but you look back. It's like watching a boxing match when both of the boxers are owned by Don King. And you don't really care anymore. You don't want to bet. You don't want to pay attention. You want to go find somewhere where there actually really is some real competition. You know what I'm saying? There really isn't any in the presidential comps. It's just dominated by these two Tweedledee and Tweedledummer type scum. No wonder the voter turnout is so freaking low. What's it, like 70% of Americans don't vote? You're dealing with an incredibly disillusioned populace. And yet, here we are with, quote-unquote, the most expensive election in US history in a time when the country is in more debt than at any other time in US history. Do you think that's a connection there? Also, that maybe the reason why the country is in such dire straits is because of these super PACs, because of the enormous amount of money that is put on the airwaves to blot out any alternative voices? Abso-frickin-lutely. I was watching the third presidential debate. I could only watch it for about 5 minutes. They didn't even get into asking the candidates any questions before I started feeling ill and just go, this isn't worth my time. Off it goes. Try to tune into some Truther talk radio stations and stuff like that before coming on the show today. And they're all saying the same thing as I'm saying. It's freaking irrelevant. And simply getting reports on the ground about this sort of thing, about the influence of Hurricane Sandy. And here's an article here. Sandy's winds of uncertainty blow through presidential race. The devastating storm that slammed into the East Coast last week could send winds of uncertainty through tomorrow's presidential election, narrowing an already close contest and casting doubt on the legitimacy of the outcome. As if the legitimacy of the outcome wasn't in question in the first place. Those Superstorm Sandy... Oh, Superstorm Sandy. I like that. It sounds really cool, like an action hero. Is unlikely to determine whether President Barack Obama or Republican Mitt Romney wins the White House. Experts said it could expose flaws in how the United States conducts elections. It took a superstorm to expose that there were flaws in the US election, apparently. Oh my God. And how the United States conducts elections, leading to protracted legal wrangling and lingering bitterness in a country already fractured along partisan lines. Yes, I'm sure the partisan lines are the only thing that's fracturing that country. In a worst-case scenario, the storm disruption could cause Obama to lose the popular vote and still win re-election, stirring up vitriolic memories of the contested 2000 battle that allowed Republican George W. Bush to triumph over Democrat Al Gore. So it was like, what? The oil man who's now part of a CIA drug-running frickin' dynasty with many, many ties to a Saudi Arabian oil cartel and monarchical dictatorship, or the dude who sold you NAFTA and GATT, which outsourced all your jobs and destroyed your economy, who then accepted defeat and later on went on to preach everybody about climate change and how taxation is the only way that we can really save anybody. Yeah, let's just take everybody's money off them, take all their resources off them, take all their freedoms off them, and that'll solve this problem with the climate that we got going on. And so naturally, when Obama gets elected as a Democrat, he starts implementing all this climate change policy and gets pats on the back from people, from former Republicans like Michael Bloomberg. Come on. Last-minute changes imposed by election officials could further arm campaign lawyers looking to challenge the result. Okay, so, and again, here's something that we need to solve the problems of a country that has so many protracted laws and so much criminality. We just need more lawyers. That'll somehow solve the problem. At minimum, low turnout would add another wild card to an election projected to be among the closest in US history. Yeah, the closest between two sides of 15% of the population. Oh my God, the country's on edge. No. So it's less than a third of people even care enough to get out and vote at all. At all. Voting should be an afterthought for hundreds of thousands of people still struggling with power outages, fuel shortages, and plummeting temperatures. It's a possibility that we'll see significant drops in turnout in some of these densely populated areas, said George Mason University professor Michael McDonald, a voter turnout expert. There's one more headache. Well, there was only one more. Tomorrow's election presents yet another headache for local officials in New York and New Jersey, which were hardest hit by the storm. Rescue workers are still recovering bodies. 1.9 million homes and businesses have no power, and tens of thousands of people are without heat as temperatures dip near freezing. Sandy, one of the most damaging storms to hit the United States, hammered the region with 129 km/h winds, while walls of water overran seaside communities. At least 113 people in the United States and Canada died. Election authorities now face unprecedented challenges. In New York City, 143,000 voters have been assigned new polling stations. New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg on Sunday called the city's elections board dysfunctional and warned that it needs to clearly communicate changes to poll workers. In New Jersey, where 25% of homes and businesses have no power, officials are allowing displaced voters to cast their ballots by email. In battered Monmouth County, officials are spreading the word about new polling stations in at least 29 towns and setting aside paper ballots to use. How does the US voting system work? Oh, it's actually got an explanation here. I'm not sure if we'll get to the end of it. Legal experts said the late changes, however well-intentioned, may give the losing candidate a basis to challenge results. The devil is in the details, and no doubt these new rules will be fertile ground for those who choose to challenge the results in the election, said Angelo Genova, a New Jersey election law expert who represents Democratic candidates in this election. The post-Sandy chaos could expose flaws in the arcane electoral college system the United States uses to elect presidents. And I think one of the Green Party candidates actually got arrested and held in handcuffs for like 8 hours or something like that with 16 guards on her because she tried to go into the Electoral College. They control the US election system. One little organization just controls the whole election. Are you freaking kidding me? I just don't get this. I really don't. How can people do this to each other? Just claim innocence when it's fairly obvious that the whole system is contrived and controlled. It's so sickening to recognize the implications of this. That you don't have a say. They tell you have a say, but you don't. You don't pick the candidates. You can't elect the candidates. Electors can do that. That's what the college. That's what this college is. It's they're the electors. You're simply the voters. You don't get to elect anybody. You get to vote for people, but they just make the decisions regardless. Okay? Had there been any honesty in the judiciary, the 2008 election wouldn't go ahead. If there were any honesty in politics, the people would have revolted. But they didn't. You know, what does that tell you? The apathy, ladies and gentlemen, is actually one of the best tools the elite has to manipulate you and get you to, well, stop yourself from stopping them. You should care. You should go do something. We'll be right back after the break.
If you take an active interest in maintaining the optimum health and well-being of yourself and your family, the New Zealand Journal of Natural Medicine is the magazine you've been waiting for. Having taken Australia and New Zealand by storm, the New Zealand Journal of Natural Medicine is now available in the UK and Europe. Visit www.nznaturalmed.co.uk or call 01626 337 531 to order your copy now.
Do you realise every day we are being put under constant stress from wireless radiation? What's worse is that you don't even know that it's happening. It puts as much stress on our body as if we had a constant viral infection, draining our energy and sapping our strength, or just making us irritable and fatigued. These wireless fields are being emitted from computers, microwaves, mobile phones, power lines, and any electrical appliance. Now there is a solution. A group of research engineers in New Zealand have come up with an active shielding device that shields you from wireless radiation at a cellular level. Blue Shield comes in 3 models: a household, portable, and USB that plugs into any computer. The great thing about Blue Shield is it is very affordable and guaranteed to last. A one-off purchase will see you being protected for years to come. Visit AmericanFreedomRadio.com and click on the Blue Shield banner. Blue Shield, brought to you by the VinnyEastwoodShow.com.
No matter where you live, globalism affects you. Did you know that the Vinny Eastwood Show has more subscribers than New Zealand Herald TV and is New Zealand's most popular YouTube news channel, where warm-hearted humour and a list of awesome guests talk about crucial issues which the mainstream media ignore? A show where you, the listener, can phone up with questions, comments and suggestions of guests. Vinny is building a hub to connect truthers with raw information they need to become active. He can help you gain further skills such as website building, producing audio and video, and creating revenue streams in your own multimedia environment. Because Vinny supports such a wide range of people in the truth movement, he is not government or corporate backed and relies entirely on your donations. Give now, give generously, or subscribe for $10 a month for access to ad-free video archives. Just visit thevinnyeastwoodshow.com and click donate.
Presidential election. What about the people? What about the economy? What about the foreign wars and stuff like that? Oh my God! I listened to Joe Biden on C-SPAN today. say that we ended the war in Iraq and we will end the war in Afghanistan. Well, I guess I didn't get that memo. I mean, how can he comes out and says, we ended the war in Iraq. Does mission accomplished mean anything to you people? And the crowd cheers and agrees. Are you freaking kidding me? Yes. Okay. It's become blissfully aware to me as I gaze at this picture of supporters of Mitt Romney. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dr. Vinny.
You listen to the Vinny Eastwood show on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. We're selling juice looseners today. Speaking of loosening the juice, US election, America ready to decide between two visions. There's an article in the New Zealand Herald. Two visions? This is the most expensive US election ever, right? So what two visions fall into the category outside of the super wealthy financing the politicians so that they can pass legislation that suits the super wealthy? Where's the two visions here? Second term has been in a statistical dead heat with former... So they talk about climax and they talk about dead heat. Is there an undertone in this article? Let's read on. With former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney, who overcame conservatives' skeptics to reach striking distance of the White House. Striking distance, yeah, like a stormtrooper with his baton about to crack some hippie skulls. But there are signs that Obama has recovered lost ground with voters, thanks to his astute handling of Hurricane Sandy. You know, see, there we go again. His astute handling of Sandy. The latest opinion polls of likely voters put him at a slight advantage over Romney for the popular vote. On the Electoral College map, which is the only thing that counts in a US presidential election. I don't like that statement. The Electoral College map is the only thing that counts in a US president. You know, what are these two radical differences? One wants the corporations to take over the state. The other one wants the state to take over the corporations. What changes? Nothing. Just gets worse and worse. I mean, who you frickin' vote for? I'm going to read the article here. This is out of the Associated Press, Rothschild Press. The most expensive presidential election in United States history reaches its climax tomorrow. Like, as soon as everybody casts their votes, they reach climax and go, ah! Billed by both Democrats and Republicans is a stark choice between two visions for America. A stark choice. There's a black guy and a white guy. That's about as stark as it gets. But that's the only difference. Skin pigment. President Barack Obama, the country's first black president, and seeking a seat, praying before the arrival of their candidate at a campaign rally in Cleveland. All these people look like they're two brain cells away from being clinically classified as with a learning disability. Right? Just crazed. And you can almost see the ignorance in their face. You know, when you get freeze frame of people and everybody kind of looks like they've, I don't know, just had a Thorazine drip or something, and they're all doing a similar thing, but they all got the same expression of, this is what these Romney supporters look like.